unless you've been stalking my Steam Play history, I don't think anyone in the world would have guessed that the game I've probably put the most time into this holiday has been Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
This is a game that has been universally panned by critics and players.
Of course you love it then.
And I'm going to stake my flag up front and say I do not understand why. I just don't understand why. More than some of these games where I always want to find out why things are divisive and everything else. This one, I can't see what the problem is. I genuinely can't see what the problem is. So many years after the last entry in the Batman Arkham series, Rocksteady have returned with a game that few were asking for, given that fans seem to just want all of the Batman all of the time. But is it a good time? Yeah, it is, actually. I've really, really enjoyed it. The story has Amanda Waller, a US intelligence officer, assemble a team of Arkham nasties to attempt to take down members of the Justice League who have been compromised and mind-controlled by a multiverse-spanning villain called Brainiac. And I didn't care that much about the narrative, being that I have no stock in these characters or this series or this work, but it's impossible not to tip your hat to the quality of the cutscenes here. So throughout the game, every sequence is rendered in-game and looks amazing. And it's something that I only realised a few hours in when I noticed that the stupid costumes I kept outfitting my characters and crew with were then reflected in the cutscenes themselves. So it's just real-time engine. And the facial animation work, the lip syncing, the mocap, the post-processing, it is second to none. It looks sensational. Really, really spectacular stuff. The dialogue between the characters is quick and witty. And as much as people whinge about it, I think it's easily as good as something like the Guardians of the Galaxy films. It's not the highest tier of writing, but it's delivered really well and the performances are solid and it's decent. The characters are all playing a stereotype, but they are filling their roles really well. This particular Suicide Squad, as I believe it differs from the recent film adaptations, but I don't know because I don't watch them, don't care. But you get Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang. And I'm sure those names mean something to more ardent DC fans, but I'm not a DC fan. And as I've already alluded to, I don't really care. So it's just a bit of a shrug of the shoulders from me. But even the performances from the possessed Justice League members are also really excellent. I think this is Kevin Conroy's last outing as Batman in any media. This is his final throw. And seeing and hearing these usually kind of virtuous characters get a turn in the villain's chair is actually really fun, even as someone with no investment in the franchise. All of this is to say, though, that even if the story itself wasn't the main draw for me, it always kept things moving along nicely. I was interested to see what was going to happen next. It was a nice reward when I beat a little section to get a cool cutscene. The gameplay basics, then. It is very important to know that this is not a strictly single-player open-world game like the Arkham series, and I think that's one of the biggest things that people are having a moan about. Instead, this is a 1-to-4 player cooperative looter-shooter that's vying for essentially the same audience that is currently mainlining Destiny 2 or Warframe or something like that.
Okay.
And on that metric, out the door failure. It's just because the things that have made those games endure for all the years that they have are absolutely not here. But if you take this game on its own merits and kind of enjoy what it's doing, I think there's a lot to love in Suicide Squad. As an additional caveat, I did pick the game up for about £15, and it's absolutely worth a punt for that sort of price. Whatever platform people may have access to, at that cost, you're probably going to have an okay time. The basic rhythm of the game goes as follows. You essentially watch one of these incredibly high-budget cutscenes. You then complete a range of broadly similar combat tasks in the open world to upgrade character traits or weapons, whilst the characters kind of banter amongst themselves. You watch another cutscene, you complete some more combat tasks. Every few hours, there's like a big boss encounter. Then things go back to the same format, and you're kind of repeating between those little sections. And I can see that being a problem if the main things of combat and traversal were boring and tedious, but they are really exciting and fun to learn and fun to master. Because the four characters, that's Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, they've all got their own weapon loadouts, they've got their own movement abilities. So getting around this city, Harley Quinn swings and grapples, a bit like Spider-Man. King Shark can leap miles into the sky and kind of crash down on tops of buildings. Captain Boomerang can throw his namesake and then teleport to its destination in a flash. And Deadshot can use a jetpack. And all of those abilities are really important because this is a very vertical game, like easily as vertical as Spider-Man on the PlayStation or Crackdown back on the 360. It's all about being in the sky, up on buildings, up on rooftops. So you'll spend most of your time kind of leaping or flying or swinging between sort of different structures. And just like those games I've compared it to, it's really fun just to get around the place. It's a lot of fun to get around. And there is a proper learning curve too, because the first few hours with any character, you will keep falling off the roof back down to street level, and it's annoying and you'll feel it in your soul. But it's that keeps you kind of going to say, but I know I could be doing better if I just had a better handle on the controls and I sort of thought about where I was aiming for and what I was trying to do. And once you sort of lock in and really get it, it's really satisfying. The combat, I think, feels really good too. The game has the classic 2 weapons and a grenade sort of setup. And even though a big part of the experience is meant to be kind of endlessly upgrading what you're carrying to improve your damage output by like 0.1% here and then the area of effect by 0.1% there, you can ignore almost all of that and just get stuck into the core spread of shooting, countering, lobbing grenades, building up and activating special moves, and just all these different bars are essentially feeding into each other to keep you always moving, always kind of attacking and always doing stuff. There's loads of other upgrades and modifiers you can fiddle with if you want to, but this passes what I would call the Halo test for me, in that the core suite of abilities is fun to use and everything else is kind of, you can take or leave. If you enjoy the idea of just shooting and throwing, again, it feels good. That's the main part of the game. The story will probably run about 15 or 20 hours for most people. I'm right near the end of it now. It's maybe 30 at the most if you're asking about with side tasks and collectibles, because there is other stuff to find and do. At this stage, if you've had your fill, off you pop. But if you want to get stuck into the metagame of endlessly tweaking weapons or unlocking more outfits along like a battle pass, there's a lot more content there for you. And there's essentially like infinite quest generation after the battle formats you've got used to from the main game if you want to carry on. But all of my praise has kind of led me to think, perhaps rhetorically as a question, what is everyone's beef with this game? Because I just don't get it. Like, people are whinging about the writing. Like I said, some people don't like kind of the interpersonal sort of bantery type thing. But most of that criticism that I've dug up is just people going, yeah, character's a bit too woke, actually. And if that's your main criticism, you can just fuck off. Like, it's so vapidly empty and boring to hear that as a criticism. People are complaining maybe about a lack of variety in the activities on offer, but I like quite boring games. But a lot of people, I do wonder, like, they are quite samey, but are these people complaining about a racing game having too much driving in it? Because if you're playing a game that's about jumping around and shooting, it seems counterintuitive to suddenly say, I am quite bored of jumping around and shooting. Like, that's the point where do something else then. Like, you don't have to play it. And people are also complaining about kind of the post-game not adding enough extra stuff. But in that case, again, you've played for 30 hours. Go and do something else. Like, there's many other games. There's many other things you could play. So I don't get any of these complaints, honestly. It's not my favourite game of all time, of course, but I've had a really good time with it every single time I've picked it up. And I think it just exemplifies more how out of step I am with modern gaming.
Yeah.
If this is kind of, the red flag that everyone has just stood up and gone, unplayable, an unplayable mess.
I think you mean the Rick flag.
But it's silly. And I don't know what people want from like a pulpy comic book story, for a start. And I don't get why people are surprised that a game marketed as being about traversal and shooting is mainly preoccupied with those two actions. And the last one, I don't understand either why people seem to think that a game has to live or die on its ability to entertain indefinitely. We've played so many games that last a few hours and then we go, what a great time. I don't even need to play it again. I had such a nice few hours. And that is still a really successful video game. So again, at the end of 30 hours, if you've decided that's enough, that can be enough. That's all right. You're allowed to leave. Like, yeah, it's not the next Arkham game as people may have wanted, but I think it is a really decent game. And especially if you get it on sale, you will absolutely get your money's worth, whether you're playing it solo like me, whether you do have a set of pals that you're playing it with. You can just enjoy it until you don't and then move on, because that's gaming, isn't it? That's what it's supposed to be about. You do things that are fun until you're not having fun anymore. And then there are quite literally 40 billion other experiences you can tap into. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good, and this will absolutely be one of these ones that everyone online shouts at me about for some reason on social media. But bring it on, because I know more than you.
Oh, I enjoyed that. It's true. True.
It's absolutely true. Proven.
It's absolutely true.